pick from Escape Gaming. You actually thought it was going to be Storm Spirit. Sure enough, Fnatic actually ban away the Storm Spirit, and now Escape choosing to go for a different initiator, a little bit off the wall here. The Axe last pick. What are your thoughts?
I thought for some reason they were going to take something like Sand King if you saw me type it to them, just because I felt like they needed a melee initiator that dealt well with the TA in the mid lane, and that was one of those heroes. As you see the flags of Jordan behind us.
Oh yeah. And this is going to be tight one. I'm feeling it. This one, like, I'm looking at it, it's going to be a lot of fighting action. Like, Escape very clearly want to push the pace of this game, right? When you've got an Axe mid, you've got a Lifestealer as your safe lane carry. This is going to be Escape Gaming trying to go.
Yeah, I feel like Escape, sometimes they'll draft for the late game. Like, they'll give Quakefa the best scaling hero possible.
Yep.
And that'll lead to sort of a weak mid lane, or weak mid game. But the Axe, what I really like about Escape's lineup is they're not cooldown reliant at all. That's the one downside of having a silencer on your team, but you have so many different ways to start a fight with these 4 melee heroes. Downside of their lineup, though, is that they're going to have a tough time going for the high ground without getting a lot of the objectives, without Fnatic taking a fight or them being able to take that Roche or contest for it at least, whereas Fnatic have a much cleaner high ground. They've got the presence of a Tide who's naturally going to build something defensive like the mech, but they also have to play heavily around their cooldowns, unlike Escape.
Do you think that was a weakness of Escape Gaming in the group stage? Do you think they tried to put too much on Quakefa to carry mid to late game and weren't playing aggressive enough, and maybe this is why they're going to switch it up in this best of one?
Yeah, because I think the standard formula when you have a player like Quakefa is you give him one of the best late game scaling carries that you possibly can, you put him in the mid lane, you allow him to farm, you secure him as good of a game as possible, and if it gets past 40 minutes, he can auto win you a game just because of his individual skill. But in a tournament like this, I think what really matters is, can you get the jumps off? Can you get the initiation off? You're going to put Fnatic in a position where they're going to panic.
Begins.
And Quakefa's hero, it's not like he doesn't scale poorly. Against the Axe and the TA, he's almost always going to be decent.
All right, well, we're going to start things off with Bounty Runes being given up. Both sides, we have the mid-Axe facing up against the Templar Assassin. We already heard some of our panel talk about how that one's going to be a bit rough for mid-1, but he's already shown himself more than capable to deal with rough circumstances. We have the aggro dual lane being run here. Kezu on the Slardar, as well as Yapzor backing him up on the Night Stalker. This is also going to be a point of contention, right? Fnatic do not have the strongest lane to be able to deal with aggression.
Downside for them right now is this Bounty Hunter is going to have to do quite a lot, just because in the laning phase, I feel like you said Escape can get a ton out of this top lane. He's just going to get pushed back.
It's both the strength and the weakness of the Shadow Shaman, right? It's the fact that it's so good versus solo offlaner, but as you can see right now, both Yapzor and Kezu are easily able to push back against this dual lane because the Shadow Shaman can't deal with 2 heroes, and Mushi already having to burn through a healing salve. So we definitely have to keep our eye on that top lane, see how the action develops. Nice pickup here, the counter ward.
He does find it, but
custom bolt. Ultimately, they'll open up that pole, right? And that's got to be a necessity, because I'm not sure if the Bounty Hunter being in this top lane can actually swing the favor back to Fnatic's hand.
Bottom of Hyo is going to get slowed down a lot.
Yeah, he takes a large amount of damage.
He's trying to contest this lane just because it is a lifesteal and a silencer. Trying to do what he can, but Nurrid step into his own man.
He's got that last word, heavy amount of damage from that level 1 nuke. Silencer known to be one of the better support harassers in the game, whether it's because of the fact he's got an orb or the heavy nuke. Mid lane, nice call, mid 1, gonna take a large amount of damage. He got a little lucky on the spins. He might have been able to finish off mid 1, but as it is, he'll just push the pressure onto mid 1, and now mid 1 actually has to try and get the rest of this ZS to start funneling himself a bottle. Hopefully he'll be able to do so underneath this tier 1 tower.
Yo, a little lucky he needed like 4 more spins.
He'll be able to get it without a problem, it looks like.
Yeah, he's going to be okay in this lane. Things will start to even out for him as Quakefa tries to play as aggressively as possible, which is what he needs to do, but top lane, Ardar still getting okay amount of farm. Night Stalker not really able to zone out too hard. I think 343 has made the right idea here, just because him going mid means absolutely nothing. Yeah. Quakefa doesn't really care, and the most telling part about that is they didn't even pull Quakefa a sentry ward. Like, we don't care about this lane so much And we're not even going to bother setting for the bounty hunter.
Would it be worth 3-4-3 to rotate all the way down to the bottom lane to help out the Tide Hunter and try and make it a 2-1-2 scenario?
No, because even with the Tide Hunter down there, without a level of Gush, I don't think they have the best presence. And he's probably not going to level it just because I think the better play might be soak up XP, which he's doing a very good job of right now. He's already level 4. Downside of having Lifestealer this lane cap is just not a lot of kill potential.
Enzu feeling a lot of pressure right now.
Got the shackles.
The shackles. Gasol will be able to instantly take that one off the void, but it's too late. Mushi will claim the first blood with the lance.
Very well done by Fnatic as they realize this safe lane has to be secured as much as possible. They feel like they have the best late gamer in the game in this Phantom Lancer. Carrying a safe lane is going to be so crucial for Fnatic.
I feel like Kezu's performance on the offlane has been a bit wanting for Escape going into the group stage. And it seems like Escape are identifying that, trying to give him the best laning phase possible by doing this dual lane setup, but it's turning against them now as the Bounty Hunter is making the difference for Fnatic.
Yeah, and the big thing right now is Ohio's just kind of punking them at bottom. Like, he doesn't care that this dual lane is harassing him. Silencer's only level 2. Oftentimes you'll see Synderen pick a hero for himself that can harass heavily or trade hits with the offlaner. Then he simply goes back to the pulling game. But in a game like this, the Tide Hunter just simply doesn't go down.
Dire's middle tower is under
downside
attack.
of Gand of Lifestealer is you can only go through his mana pool once before he's no longer a threat. So you have to kind of pick their spots carefully here. And I think it's going to come from the App Store making rotations, but because this top lane has gone so poorly, he's only level 2 right now.
We are definitely not going to be feeling too much of a presence on Yapzor unless he gets a bit lucky with that 6-minute rune. Maybe he can wrap around on mids. Koifa's already put a lot of damage onto mid 1 before, but I say that we saw mid 1 earlier actually pick up that Invis rune, so he's even got an escape. Not too many options for our 4 position of Escape Gaming. Otherwise, everything looks pretty good for Fnatic as Ohio is now level 5 in the off lane, and it's getting harder and harder for Synderen to push him back.
Yeah, they really need this Slardar to have an okay laning phase. That's why they decided to go for this dual lane, because Yapzor's not getting anything. They haven't been able to harass this bottom lane. Ohio's now going to go for the Ancient stacks, which is further going to progress his Templar Assassins farm. And more importantly, they need this second Blink initiation from Kezu to follow up. They don't have that much damage otherwise.
Now, we have a Lifestealer in the safe lane for Escape Gaming. When do we see Era start rotating out? Because we've seen Lifestealers that sometimes sit in their lane and sit in jungle and wait until they have the full arm length. Others, once they pick up level 6, they immediately jump inside a gank hero and try and put some pressure on the enemy team. What are your thoughts on the Lifestealer and how should he progress in this game?
Problem is, he doesn't have that natural vehicle that has farm. Normally, you'd see him jump into something like the Slardar. They'd be able to execute a gank. They simply just can't do that because Kezu needs to farm. If one gank goes disastrously, that's kind of the game for him. Like, this is a level 3 Slardar who just picked up Iron Talon, doesn't have boots, is level 3. I mean, I can't even believe I'm reading off the stats because we're rapidly approaching 6 minutes.
So in other words, we're going to be seeing a bit more of a slower paced game up until we get those Blink daggers out from Escape on both the Axe as well as the Slardar.
Yeah. Maybe you can start rotating the Slardar once he hits 6, but as he is right now, he's not going to lend a lot of pressure. And now they're just going to rotate out of this top lane, which maybe they should have done a little bit earlier because Mushi's getting much CS as he wants anyways, even with these 2 heroes.
Dangerous Kezu will not put himself low enough. Critical range where 3-4-3 could potentially pick him off as the Bounty Hunter. Timing too, as 3-4-3 had just rotated over and spotted him out. Mid lane, 32-5 on the Axe, 38-9 mid 1, still doing quite well in this 1v1 match.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Fnatic want to just take this top tower, start getting as aggressive as possible, just because this bottom tower, I think it's going to be hard. It's really difficult to gank a life stealer. All you have to do is rage TP out. Maybe this top tower is a little bit safer. They are going to TP 3-4-3 back, who should just soak XP bottom, and I think they make the full switch. So you go around behind the tower with the Tide Hunter, you secure the tower, you allow your Bounty Hunter to soak level 6 in either mid or bottom, preferably bottom, which now he's going to learn that he should do. And he doesn't even need to carry a TP because it's not necessary for him to do anything pre-track. And mid 1, his game is perfectly fine because of the stacks. At top,
we are going to see that wraparound come to fruition. Yapzor looks like he's going to be caught out here. Kezu can't really get there fast enough to get a good spot. In fact, he's going to be ravaged as well. They get off the wall for Yapzor. He buys himself a little bit huge. Is he actually going to be able to escape? He's trapped inside the trees up against the Phantom Lancer illusion. Now Koifa's come in, managed to get a pretty decent roll. He gets the dunk. Now he gets another cross. DJ, he's also going to be already comboed up on Quimba, ready to go with another cooling blade. That's number 2, and he's looking for 3. Ohio, he knows he's trapped like a rat, like a
Radiant's top tower is under
and the
attack.
boys turning it around. Escape Gaming. It was looking pretty nasty for them in the laning phase, but it all goes right with the fight up in
Radiant's
the top lane.
middle
They were
tower
so
is under
quick on the
attack.
TPs, able to react instantly as Koikva picks up so much gold, and although their plays, we were able to call it or escape, as they managed to respond perfectly, and now they're going to grab some levels on their heroes. And Fnatic, they had a really good start to this game, but all of a sudden Arrow, who's been uncontested, he's going to take the top of the net worth charts.
Yeah, now Arrow's game can actually speed up quite a bit, right? Because we now have the first vehicle coming online pretty quickly. That Link Dagger is coming in, but Fnatic are now going to rotate their Phantom Lancer down to the bottom lane. Try and put some pressure on him. What is this about? Why don't they just return back to their safe lane and continue to farm away with the PL?
I think the difficulty in this is you just want to get DJ some levels. At 9 minutes in, he needs a little bit more farm. As up at top, we're going to watch this as they pop the Ravage, but just don't have no follow-up damage.
Yeah, beautiful setup there from Escape Gaming, rotating Koipa in like that and being able to interrupt what was, I mean, as you said, we read it and Escape Gaming read it too. They read the rotation of Fnatic and managed to counter it. The Axe just proves to be too strong.
It was still, it was like an odd
Radiant's
rotation
middle
because
tower
normally
is
you see
under
the Tide
attack.
front line at bottom tower and the rest of the
Radiant
team comes and meet them
structures
there.
are
But I think
fortified.
because it's Lifestealer, you're a little bit more deterred from doing that because they have no easy way to initiate on them unless you just blow Ravage out of the blue.
Yeah, Lifestealer's just like a little bit too strong in the laning phase, right? So you don't want to try and contest that.
Yeah, I think you kind of leave them alone and you make that play for top, but the big thing there is they wanted to be able to take that tower cap so they can just start putting pressure into the Radiant jungle. They're unable to do so now, and Mushi's kind of in a weird position where he's got to continue to rotate because he has to let this PA roster just continue to farm as much as he wants.
Yeah, another downside of the roster, right, is that it is a support that is kind of greedy. It requires a lot of levels to be pretty impactful in the mid game. Otherwise, it just turns into tissue and gets
Radiant's
ripped
middle
apart.
tower is under
Still, though,
attack.
Fnatic are looking good on mid one. We haven't really talked too much about him, but he's top of the net worth out right now, sitting
Radiant's
at
middle
4K
tower
alongside
has
both
been
the Phantom
denied.
Lancer and the Axe Lifestealer.
Radiant's
Pretty
top
good
tower
mid
is
tower
under
push by
attack.
Fnatic. They don't really have to expend too much to get it, not even the Shadow Shaman wards. They just kind of naturally pick it up, and now I think EJ, because this spell has such a long cooldown, I think you just go for the Roshan and immediately expend it. I'm not sure if Escape can contest it unless this Axe starts making his way down, but whenever you have a high cooldown ability like this, whether it's Lion Finger of Death or the Shadow Shaman Mass Serpent wards, you just want to place them as fast as you possibly can. This is a very good Roshan attempt by them, especially if it goes unnoticed.
Yeah, Escape Gaming seems to have no idea whatsoever. Ohio's already positioning himself in that mid lane pretty aggressively, so he's showing that hero as simultaneously he's also within walking distance of that Roshan pit should Escape find out what's happening and try and contest. But that's not going to be the case here. Roshan will fall shortly, and this will be a big boost for Fnatic. Be able to
Radiant's
come back in
bottom
this lane.
tower. Roshan has fallen to the dark.
And they still have an ancient stack to work through as well.
Yeah, this is going to be huge for the TA, who they're clearly prioritizing in farm right now. You see the Bounty Hunter hit 6. I think this is a good time for them to smoke up, get ready, play around the Ravage. We talked about how they need to control
Dire's
this Radiant
top
jungle
tower
when
is
you're playing
under
Dire
attack.
at any point in the game. Now that you have the Aegis, it's very unlikely that Escape take this fight.
So naturally, Escape, they do the opposite, right?
Yeah.
They know invasion's coming into the Radiant jungle, they get out of there. They spend their time in the top lane,
Dire's
and they're going to
structures
trade
are
tier
fortified.
1 for tier 1.
This is
Dire's
a good
top
move by
tower is
Escape
under
right now.
attack.
They're just dodging. They realize, waste that Aegis timer. They're not going to win that
Radiant's
fight.
bottom tower
Gotta
is
get the
under
Ravage
attack.
and the Templar Assassin Aegis.
Now, that's not to say they won't try and fight Fnatic at any point. Right?
Dire's
Even though it's
top
in
tower
ages,
has
you can
fallen.
still contest with this
Radiant's bottom
pretty
tower
early game
is under
fast tempo
attack.
lineup. It just
Radiant
requires
structures
a
are
sneakier
fortified.
form of initiation, perhaps.
And the big thing right now is that Kezi just has to continue to farm right now.
Radiant's bottom
trying to
tower
get
halfway
is
to
under
blink.
attack.
1,000 golds, he's got the Tranquil Boots. Unfortunately, he has the sustain, but he
Radiant's
doesn't
bottom
quite have
tower
the
is
big gold boost to
fallen.
be really impactful around that 15-minute marker. So his timing will be a bit slower, but fortunately he's got some allies who will
Oh,
be
this
able
is
to
going to
make
be
up
huge.
for him.
Fnatic 3-man smoke up at top. They know that Escape are in their jungle. They can't grab anybody out of this, though. This might just waste another minute or two of their Aegis.
Grab just Cinderin. May not even be worth it, but it would still be a track kill. Obviously, they want so much more. Sinrin picks up the Tranquil Boots and backs out pretty much at the right time here, but Kezu needs to still be picked
He
off.
cannot afford to die. Oh, they're pinging like crazy. They know they were smoked up.
Out of
What's
ward
going
being
down?
laid out, but a very smart observer ward by Escape Gaming. Knowing that's pretty common warding area, they lay their observer ward right outside.
The first fight for Escape is going to be huge because this Slardar just doesn't have enough farm. Their Axe as well is not the best late game scaler like we talked about. He's okay against this lineup, but with the way that Fnatic are geared up to fight, you see this Mana Monster, he doesn't go for that MVP Phoenix style travel into just farming to getting that refusal play. He can pick it up early. He wants to participate in these early fights with his team.
Escape Gaming is such a momentum-based lineup, right? Like, they've got this lineup that needs to be able to win that first fight. So if you just build up stats and try and contest that first fight, if you could stop it, nip it in the bud, Escape Gaming may never be able to really get a good hold on this game.
Yeah, you notice that they're going to go for the 4-man smoke here. They're going to do it absent of their Slardar, who they realize just has to continue to farm in this game. And this is going to be one of their better opportunities, especially if they can open up on DJ. But it's the Apsor smoke.
Yapsor, he gets a little bit too close to the tower, but they will be able to get the jump call onto Ohio. He still has the Ravage ready to go. They try and get the Culling Blade, not quite good enough, but Ohio will die nonetheless. He doesn't pop the Ravage. Thinking it's not going to be a good time. Sidrin in behind will be popped by Midline. He's got the Desolator, 3-4-3 on the side. Is going to be called up, and that'll be a 2-for-1.
It's going to be difficult for them to continue to go as Mana Monster's pinging, telling DJ, be careful. They still have the blink available on that Axe. He's got enough HP to make a counter initiation, but clean picked off so far from Escape.
Good enough. Kind of smoking that you wanted to see. They traded away Syndrin, but hard to find position. That's okay. And they also bought Kezu just a little bit more space. A couple more minutes, he will have that blink dagger, and then we'll have our double initiators and Escape to really push the pace of this game. But it is 14 minutes in, and Fnatic are looking quite good for the time being in net worth and experience. All they have to do is play this passively and not let Escape get the right initiation.
Yeah, I think the downside for Fnatic right now is that Ohio just doesn't have that available to him. Quite underfunded as well as top Kezu.
And goes down, they got 3-4-3 here.
This would be a big kill for them.
Beautiful time for that one. With 3-4-3 out of his misery, Ohio is still up there. He has some of his allies coming in. Mid one is still going to run over. DJ trailing a little bit farther behind. You may not realize, though, this is a full 4-man of Escape.
Top Fnatic, they really want to get into this fight. Mid one is so farmed right now. He's got that Desolator on top of the DD rune bottled, and they're going to make their way forward.
Got the round. They think this is a good fight, but over the Rush comes in with the amplified damage. They're going to try and pop Ohio during that range timer. It's coming close, Ohio. He's got the Ravage ready to go, but now Era. Oh, he jumps inside. Gets the advantage on the Ravage, but now he's stuck up against DJ with a Jackal. He turns around, tries to get some damage on the Mushi, but it's no good. Escape. They'll lose 2 of their cores, and that's exactly the kind of fight Fnatic were looking for off of the Ravage.
Very surprised that Escape decided to take that fight, considering they knew the TA still has that
Radiant's top
Aegis
tower
available,
is
that
under
DD
attack.
bottle, and that made all the difference in this fight.
Radiant's
And even with the
structures are
Ravage
fortified.
whipping, didn't really seem to matter too much at mid one. Now he's almost going to use the blink dagger.
Radiant's
This is
top tower has
kind of
fallen.
start that Escape definitely didn't want it.
Link
As-
dagger on him, and mech rapidly approaching for Ohio. Big ticket items for Fnatic that can change the sway of this game. And Escape, they've got a very limited time because they're Radiant. Fnatic are a dire side Templar Assassin with the Desolator. Round 2 of Roshan is coming up quick, and it seems unlikely that it's going to go into the hands of Escape unless they're actively winning fights in the next 2 or 3 minutes.
As up at top, mid one's just going to set a trap. I think that Yapsor runs into the double melt. Gets the first hit off. He should be able to just blink chase him down. And instead, decides it's not worth his time. And now he's going to go to the right.
If he can get a better angle for it.
Hoping that Yapsor just runs through this safer area. Yapsor instead. He's going to go the long way, or is he?
Oh, Yapsor.
Dire's bottom tower
And he
is under
goes
attack.
towards the secret shop. Gonna pick up that point boost.
Oh, no, he's gonna get hit.
Right, that's mid one. Then gonna be good enough. 3 shot 4, and that's all it takes. Mid one with the Desolator
Dire's
takes him
bottom
out,
tower
and the
has
deny at the
been
bottom
denied.
lane tower. DJ picks that one up against Era.
So well done by mid one, reading that movement from Yapsor. And Yapsor, for a second, it looked like he was going to go all the way around, but basically no way for him to predict that. He was just trying to push in the mid lane, or the top lane, and now Escape gathered around this Roche pit, but
They're a little bit too late for it. They have the Infest up and the Blink Dagger for Kezu, but the Ancient Stack has already been taken. That's even for the next
Cinder.
Tries to get out of Lord, locked out the Ancients, but it cost him his life, and that one's going to be taken away pretty quickly.
yeah, the worst part of that is they know where the wards are. That's a fresh one. And if you're losing in a game like this, you can't afford to get dewarded this early in.
Things just seem to go from bad to worse for Escape Gaming. We said they had to be a lineup that would push the tempo of the game, but they haven't really gotten their footing whatsoever. We've seen the Blink Daggers. Both
Dire's
of them are
middle
up now. We
tower
even have
is
a
under
Force Staff
attack.
for Koifa. Outside of that top lane engagement where they managed to counter the Tidehunters rotation behind the tier 1 and that triple kill for Koifa, none of these fights have gone good for Escape.
It's just hard for them to take a fight when they know this Templar is nothing to this farm. And more importantly, now that the Tide has the mech and the Ravage available,
Radiant's
it
bottom tower is
makes this
under
going to be a
attack.
nearly impossible fight for Escape.
Tier 2 seems like it's just going to be given up. Escape will try and push out the top lane as best they can, but Fnatic are just growing that lead. You can see the initiation comes down on Mushi. They will be able to find a pickoff, it looks like, as Mushi, unable to get off any spells, does manage to get off the doppelganger on the side and will be able to get away with now the mech. Synderin,
Dire's
TP's
top tower
out,
is
barely
under
escaping
attack.
out of that shuriken.
They did have to forward with Global Silence for this as mid one. Gonna get stunned up, but I think Escape are in full retreat mode. Mid one going forward.
Oh yeah, of course, they're going to be mid. Not a chance. Shuriken bounces in from 3-4-3. 6-7. The score may look relatively
Radiant's middle
even, but
tower
it's
is
anything
under
but.
attack.
In this elimination
Dire's
match
top tower
between
is
Fnatic
under
and
attack.
Escape, Fnatic rapidly running
Radiant
away with it.
structures are
This is pretty
fortified.
massive for them because the Global Silence is down. They know that Escape aren't that strong. They are Fast Serpent wards available too. I think Fnatic just back off. They immediately go to the Roshan when it spawns, do that, and just allow Mushi to continue to push out all the lanes for yourself. And decide to start thinking about the high ground.
Yeah, that's pretty smart. Like, a very disciplined play, right, from Fnatic. They could have just gone and tried, oh, let's take that tier 2, but if you get into a fight around that tier 2, you blow Serpent Wards, you blow Ravage, and it doesn't go really well for you, you may end up losing control of Roshan. So much better that they backed out, kept those cooldowns of theirs, and will be able to go for Roche pretty easily. I can't really see how Escape Gaming are going to be able to contest. They have Templar Assassin is in the Roshan pit with Serpent Wards, and the rest of the team is sitting just outside.
At some point though, you have to take a fight against this lineup. I'm not even 100% sure that Escape can in the late game, just because they're just not getting a lot of farm progression on their heroes.
Once again, Ohio setting himself up in that mid lane, knowing that with the mech and the Ravage ready to go, unlikely to be ganked, push out that lane and still be within walking distance for the Roshan pit. So this is going to be the big moment for Escape Gaming. Can they get the right initiation, turn the fortune of this game?
They're gonna get spotted though by this Templar Assassin ward. Now they're gonna make their move in.
Ace through Ohio, trying to guarantee so much. But Roshan is going to go down before anything happens.
They're gonna get out now.
And now the initiation actually going to be coming out from Fnatic. They try and leave with the lands onto the Lifestealer. He just rages it off, and the rest of Escape Gaming will escape, but comes at a serious cost. Roshan and number 2 Aegis in the hands of Fnatic. Like the rest of these tier 2 towers be forfeited at this rate.
Yeah, Fnatic just decided to go mid. It's going to be hard for Escape to hold, and I do like that Escape went for that movement, but unfortunately for them it was too late, and probably would have gone poorly for them anyways. They had no idea how low that Roshan was going to be. As soon as mid 1 picks up that Aegis, you can't really jump blind into the vision because the Shadow Shaman's waiting there. They'd have to do some kind of tactical move where they pop the global as the axe keep links in, so he prevents the Shadow Shaman shackles.
They've been picking out Lucy a lot. They think they have an opportunity to find initiation. They do. Ohio goes immediately cracks himself off one of the doors. Now he has to deal with another one as the open wounds goes down on him. It's coming close and they get the Culling Blade. They take him out before Ravage goes down. Jack goes on to Kenzu, but Ohio's going down. Not enough space for him to get out. Mid launches him in too damn hard. Jinra he's going to be next beat away. 2 down from Escape. Yes, they got the Tidehunters. They found that initiation, but you saw They were pinging on Mushi, and Mushi was already making his way through the dire jungle
Radiant's
and wasn't
middle
too far
tower
away.
is under
Was
attack.
able to join in the last half of
Radiant's
that team
middle
fight.
tower
This is
has
one of the
fallen.
worst situations for Escape, just because now Fnatic are already beating on their doorstep. We've got the Shadow Shaman wards up in just 5 seconds. They still have Ravage available, and no Global
Radiant's
Silence
middle
available
tower
for
is
Escape.
under
They didn't even
attack.
pop the Aegis on the mid one, and now the wards are going to go down. And this is now the true test of Escape, whether or not that they can hold this high ground.
They couldn't get it after Roshan hit.
Radiant's middle
Now
tower
do or
has
die
fallen.
for Escape Gaming here inside their base. Tier 3 tower already down. Circle wards getting some chip damage on the melee racks as well. A rage being used by Era. This may leave him exposed. Fnatic come forward, jump in from Kezu, stuns up mid one, but he's still got both that Aegis as well as that refraction. He'll be able to finish off that melee racks. No initiation coming out from Escape Gaming. In fact, they even get the call, but they are way too scared to actually jump on mid one, knowing that a moment's notice, Ohio could get the Force Staff and Ravage, turning the whole entire fight into Fnatic's favor. So Fnatic, after taking that melee racks, won't risk it any further. Backing out for a moment's notice and reevaluating. Looks like they're going to go for the tier 2 at top lane.
I think they know that this Aegis is going to last for long enough that they don't have to make that kind of play. It's only a range rack, so there's no reason to give Escape any sort of free initiation. Ohio still has that Ravage available to him. Better to try to refresh this Master Serpent board
Radiant's
before you
top
try to make
tower
another
is
play.
under attack.
And Escape, no matter what, they were going to lose that Vax, but they didn't lose heroes on top of it. Now they're going to make an aggressive move. Look out for this ward, though.
Radiant's
And
top
it
tower
just turned
has
daytime.
fallen.
Even worse for Yapzor as his Night Stalker is just a bit under farms, and he can use every little help he could get, nighttime included.
This is so huge.
Round 2. Oh, nice blink out from mid one, just ahead of the call. The animation a bit too long. Now Kenzie finds his initiation with Arrow locked inside, but he still can't finish him off. The Void comes in just in time. Thought the Templar Assassin was going to be able to make the escape.
That's round 1.
Comes back, second life, and will be able to blink himself away. Not daring to step a foot outside of their base.
Jay has an Arcane Rune, though, and he's got the Master Serpent wards. You desperately want to drop these if you still have the time on it. Fnatic, they no longer have
Dire's
the Aegis. They've
bottom
got to be
tower
somewhat
is
careful.
under attack.
It's still on cooldown for them as well. Ravage is available, though.
Radiant's top tower is under
Escape
attack.
can't afford to give up the second set of racks. Wards have been dropped.
Who can challenge mid one? He's got a BKB
Radiant
full 10
structures
second
are
duration.
fortified.
They
Radiant's
either
top
have to
tower
kite
is under
him
attack.
excellently, or they have to make the
Dire's bottom
initiation
tower
on him and
is under
pop
Radiant's
immediately,
top
and that
tower
just
has
seems
fallen.
unlikely. The mech is ready to go in 15 seconds to make it down, but immediately a Hex goes out. Kezu, oh, they managed to get the call now into mid
they can
one.
kill
They're
mid one here.
desperately trying to
Dire's
pop up when the
bottom
BKB goes
tower
out,
is under
and now
attack.
the fight turns with the Ravage. Holding on to 2, Yaps are going to be slowed down by Mushi, as he's just going one by one through the supports in the background, while the boards are being self-lit by mid one. Double kill for DJ, and that second lane of Rags will go to
Radiant's
Fnatic.
top barracks has fallen.
I mean, mid one right now is so unstoppable with that BKB available. Escape, because of their lineup, so many melee heroes on their side. They've got to just clump up around that Ravage. It was even daytime, now they're going to go for the Mega Creeps. Trying to end all hope for Escape.
There it is. They call it Escape Gaming going out with the whimper. Not a bang. 7-13, 26 minutes in. Fnatic putting on one hell of a clinic here against Escape Gaming. That seemed at no point in time, excluding that again, that one fight between the tier 1 and the tier 2 in the top lane, everything seemed to go Fnatic's way.
Yeah, Fnatic were surgical. That first Serpent Ward drop that they used in the Roche Pit to secure themselves that bottom lane as well ended up paying huge dividends for them, as they just were never able to bring down this mid one TA.
Looking at Fnatic, obviously really good form here against Escape Gaming. How far do you think this run through